Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Biju, and I'm one of the research interns at MRC. Um, so, the aim of the project that I'm covering is to be able to create a comprehensive blue economy accounting framework covering various important aspects, not only just for an accounting perspective, but to be able to actively integrate it into marine spatial planning for policymaking. To build the base for such a framework, my project in particular covers the state of Maharashtra as a pilot state, and we are going to be looking at three particular sectors as a foundation for the framework, with the long-term objective of being able to apply a similar framework to other states according to their specific context, and also be more inclusive by including other economic sectors into the accounting framework as well. So, why do we need an accounting framework in the first place? So, conventional accounting often misses a lot of important aspects, especially when we come to an environmental or social perspective. Conventional accounting often misses out on a lot of important aspects like environmental degradation, services provided by the ecosystem, strategic and security value of the ocean infrastructure, as well as dominance with latent ecological value. And Our framework plans to cover all of these aspects as well. Uh, some factors. The three sectors of Maharashtra, particularly looking at, are ports, fisheries, and mangroves. My presentation will talk further on the research that I have done on ports. Ports and fisheries are obviously two very important pillars of a blue economy. Um, Mangroves isn't strictly speaking a. However, we have planned to include it to incorporate the environmental perspective, especially for a state like Maharashtra, where mangrove conservation is a very important topic that needs to be given priority. And finally, obviously, we talk about integrating all of this into our marine spatial planning tool, which is really important for converting accounting into tangible actions by identifying possible conflicts that are there between different sectors, locate possible opportunities and costs, guide policy making, and be able to prioritize restoration investment. Um, so this is the identity that we build upon when we are building a framework for the blue economy. We obviously cover aspects like the market value. On top of that, we cover environmental aspects like environmental degradation and restoration costs. We include the services which are offered by the ecosystem, as well as other kinds of opportunity cost and strategic value. um, yeah the port sector is an important aspect when it comes to Maharashtra's blue economy, specifically. The Jawaharlal Nehru Port Authority, which is one of the two major ports in the state, it itself handles approximately 65% of India's total throughput. There are over 50 minor ports operated by the Maharashtra Maritime Board, and a large portion of the investment from the Sagamala program is for the port sector in Maharashtra. Applying the identity that we talked about specifically to the port sector, we are able to map a lot of different variables to each of these parameters. Firstly, we have our market value where we cover all the income aspects, the various sources of income from the port sector, when it can be vessel charges, cargo charges, and other forms of income as well. We also try to incorporate indirect costs and incomes through input output multiplier analysis and logistics cost savings. We also acknowledge the importance of avoided cost value. For example, the cost savings that we get from using coastal shipping as a substitute to road freight, the savings that we get from efficient turnaround when it comes to emissions. We also include other aspects like the effects of leaching from anti-fouling coatings, as well as positive environmental effects like afforestation, spoil disposal, and shore protection. Strategic value is also another important aspect. It is obviously hard to quantify, but its importance needs to be acknowledged. Um, And similarly, ecosystem service value is another important aspect where we cover mangrove, seagrass, and tidal ecosystem services and their contribution to the blue economy. So the findings from my analysis of ports in Maharashtra, firstly, by assigning every category to a specific term in the identity with a valuation, with a predefined valuation method and a confidence interval, we are at least to a certain extent able to convert the qualitative environmental concern into a structured and quantitative sustainability accounting framework. On a similar note, we see that a lot of the substantial costs are often entirely ignored, and data is very partial for these aspects. Variables like the destruction of mangroves and the displacement of fishermen are externalities that are often omitted in current port economics. Also, when we look at the Vadhvan port, which is under construction, it serves as an important case study where we see whether India is willing and able to move from growth focused accounting to generally integrated ocean value accounting. And lastly, we need to acknowledge the fact that UDA isn't a separate subject from the blue economy counting, but it serves as a framework for reliable and useful data that makes BA as comprehensive as possible. And obviously, this isn't the first time that an attempt has been made to include a sustainability focused blue economy accounting framework. And there are a lot of limitations and obstacles that we face when we come to this. First is the obviously, as I mentioned before, the absence of data and the availability of only partial data. Ports factor, we see that a lot of the income data is missing for ports in Maharashtra. We also see the aspects like underwater radiator and avoided cost value. We also are not able to count for cross-boundary externalities when we are strictly talking about state-specific analysis. Also, we are not able to capture equity and distributional impacts clearly. Um, for example, social and gender dimensions are acknowledged as important, but since they are very qualitative in nature, it's very hard to capture that into the identity itself. So finally, we plan to kind of replace the question how much does the ocean produce with how much sustainable ocean value is produced, preserved, and secured. And by undertaking the sector specific analysis for Maharashtra, we are able to build a baseline for its framework with the long term objective of being able to scale it up further. And like I mentioned before, UDA is not a parallel system. It's a real-time data infrastructure that will be able to make accurate and updatable BA possible. Thank you.